All right. You could see when, the Russians really focused on Mariupol, a important coastal city, even if they were taking out a hospital, even a maternity hospital, then, eyeing other centers and that were really just for average folks, a mosque. We had 80 people in there at the time, still no casualty count from them, but it's extended to other cities like Melitopol, the mayor there, Ivan Fedorov, taken by Russian police to God knows where, concerned that he's being tortured. But there's definitely a new, almost scary elevation to this attack line on the part of the Russians. Dan Hoffman's been following it very, very closely, the former CIA station chief in Moscow. Dan, what's going on? What do you make of this strategy, making no bones about attacking civilian strongholds, exclusively such?
Well, this is the Russian playbook. It's Vladimir Putin's playbook. And if past his prologue, we're seeing exactly what the Russian military, and supported by their intelligence services, did to Grozny, Chechnya, as well as Aleppo. They use their military might, their air power indiscriminately. So they're just targeting military infrastructure, but they're also deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure, hospitals, residential areas, and they're just relying on their propaganda. Remember, Vladimir Putin's formative experience was as a KGB officer, so he's a natural purveyor of lies and disinformation. And so they will lie about what they're doing, but make no mistake, it's a scorched earth strategy, and they're trying to instill fear in the Ukrainian population.
Dan, we're getting word of this 75-minute phone call or so between the leaders of Germany and France on the phone with Vladimir Putin. But one thing they made clear, that there was no willingness on the part of Vladimir Putin to end the Ukraine war, and no sign that he might in the near future. I guess you're not too surprised. But why the phone calls anyway? Why does that continue?
Well, I think Vladimir Putin is reaching out. I think he's happy to have those phone calls. He's happy to have negotiations take place. That's just part of the subterfuge for him. What he wants to do is give Ukrainians some false hope that there might be some diplomatic settlement and then rain down hell on their cities. Vladimir Putin's not looking for an off-ramp. Traditionally, Russian strategy has been to escalate and then de-escalate. In this case, he's got no choice. He's fighting to win. And as I've been saying, he's not looking for an off-ramp. He's just barreling down those highways to Ukraine's major cities and destroying them in the process.
So what does he gain, even if he gains the country? He's ravaged it. He's almost taken out a nuclear reactor that could have done untold damage, and there's still no guarantee that the radiation leaks aren't coming from there. So what does he win here? He's been vilified and isolated on the global stage. I'm sure sanctions and all that would remain in effect as long as he's in power. So just help me get into that mind.
Yeah, so he's committed a number of errors, intelligence failure. He failed accurately to assess Ukraine's will and capacity to fight. He failed accurately to assess his own military and their severe challenges that they're facing with logistics and morale and other things. He said that the greatest geopolitical catastrophe was the collapse in the 20th century was the collapse of the Soviet Union. He's kind of bringing it back. Russia is an economic and diplomatic pariah state. Their economy is cratered, and he's repressing his people at home because that's what he knows. I just think this is a catch-22 for him. He can't go back. He can't admit that it was a failure to launch this attack on Ukraine, and yet the deeper he digs this hole, the more likely it is that his own regime security is threatened. And that's the very reason why he attacked Ukraine, because he can't stand for a neighbor to build a functioning democracy with a vibrant commercial economy linked to the West. That's what scares Vladimir Putin. He knows NATO's a defensive alliance, and he knows Ukraine was never going to join NATO in the near term. But that's why he launched the war on faulty premises. And eventually, when all those dead soldiers don't come home, he's going to have to face the truth, which is that his propaganda is not going to work in this century. Vladimir Zelensky, president of Ukraine, has earned Ukraine the moral, psychological advantage in this war by so expertly using social media and owning the debate in such a way that I think has to be humiliating for Putin and unexpected.
Yeah, you're probably right about that, Dan Hoffman. Thank you very, very much.